Have you ever wondered if perfection exists in digital form? Not in graphics or storylines, but in pure mathematical elegance. This is the story of Tetris, a game that conquered the world one block at a time. It began in 1984 behind the Iron Curtain in a Soviet research lab. Alexei Pajitnov, a software engineer with no graphical tools, used simple text brackets to represent falling blocks. He didn't know he was creating a global obsession. Inspired by a childhood puzzle called pentominoes, Alexei simplified the shapes into tetrominoes, 7 patterns made of 4 squares. The goal was simple: clear lines to survive, but the mechanics were dangerously addictive. The game spread like wildfire through the Moscow research centers. It was so distracting that the Soviet Academy of Sciences reportedly banned it during work hours to save productivity. The first sign of the Tetris Effect. In the communist USSR, individual ownership didn't exist for inventions made at work. Alexei didn't own Tetris. The rights belonged to the state organization ELOG. This set the stage for a massive Cold War legal battle. British entrepreneur Robert Stein discovered the game in Hungary and secured what he thought were worldwide rights. But he hadn't cleared the critical handheld rights, leading to a messy web of competing claims. Media giants like Microsoft and Atari began selling their own versions. The game was a hit, but the foundation of their contracts was built on shifting Soviet sands. The true battle was just beginning. Enter Hank Rogers. Driven by a hunch that Tetris was the killer app for portable gaming, he flew to Moscow without an invitation. He risked everything to negotiate directly with the Soviets for the handheld rights. In a tense series of meetings, Rogers bonded with Alexei over game design. They became lifelong friends, and Rogers eventually convinced the Soviets that Nintendo was the only partner that could bring Tetris to the global stage. Rogers convinced Nintendo to bundle Tetris with the new Game Boy. It was a masterstroke. Tetris became the game that proved portable gaming was for everyone, not just kids, selling millions and defining a generation. A massive legal battle followed between Nintendo and Atari over console rights. Nintendo eventually emerged victorious, securing Tetris as a cornerstone of their gaming empire. Alexei eventually moved to the US to reclaim his creation. The game's impact is profound. It triggers the Tetris Effect, a psychological state where players begin to see patterns and falling blocks in their dreams and even the real world. It's a testament to the game's deep cognitive reach. Studies have shown that playing Tetris can increase brain efficiency and even help treat PTSD by preventing traumatic memories from solidifying. It is more than a game, it is a tool for the mind. Unlike most games about destruction, Tetris is about construction and order. It is a game of eternal organization versus chaos. Success is invisible, lines vanish, but failure remains, piling up until the screen is full. Alexei Pajitnov once said that Tetris is a metaphor for life. You build, and your successes disappear while your mistakes pile up. It's that relentless challenge that keeps us coming back. Decades later, Tetris has evolved into a high-stakes esport. The classic Tetris World Championship draws thousands. Players moved from standard tapping to hyper-tapping, pushing hardware to move pieces at impossible speeds. The scene was dominated for years by the late Jonas Neubauer, a 7-time champion whose strategic brilliance and sportsmanship defined the modern era of competitive Tetris. He was the first true master of the perfect game. Then came rolling, a technique using the back of the controller to hit buttons faster than the game's internal repeat rate. This revolutionized competitive play, allowing players to reach levels previously thought to be humanly impossible. In 2023, 13-year-old Willis Gibson reached the legendary True Kill screen. He played so far into the NES code that the game literally crashed under the weight of his perfection. He had finally beaten the unbeatable. From Tetris 99's Battle Royale to the immersive VR experience of Tetris Effect, the game continues to evolve. It adapts to every new platform, remaining as fresh today as it was in a Soviet lab 40 years ago. What is it about 7 shapes that transcends culture, language, and age? Tetris is universal. It requires no translation, only the human desire to bring order to chaos and find patterns in the noise. Alexei eventually founded the Tetris company with Hank Rogers, finally gaining control over his creation. Today, Tetris is more than a game. It's a cultural icon recognized from Moscow to New York to Tokyo. Through the fall of nations and the rise of the internet, the blocks keep falling. Tetris remains the gold standard of game design, a perfect loop of challenge, frustration, and eventual triumph. It is the most successful game of all time for a reason. It captures something fundamental about the human brain. We are builders, solvers, and seekers of perfection. And in Tetris, we find all three. Tetris isn't just a game, it's the most perfect achievement in digital history. Thank you for joining us on this 40-year journey. The blocks will never stop falling, forever.